She jumped the fence again, pointing at our yard like it was hers. "This is HOA property now," she yelled, waving a clipboard filled with fake violation slips. I was about to answer when two men in black jackets showed up, bold yellow letters on their backs reading HOA Patrol. They didn't even knock. They just swung the gate open like they owned the place. One of them barked, "Step aside, old man. This gate doesn't meet community standards." Grandpa didn't move. He just sat on his porch swing, cowboy hat tilted low, sipping his sweet tea. His eyes narrowed, calm but sharp. He chuckled under his breath. "Community standards? This land's been mine before your HOA even existed." The patrol guy tried to shove the gate harder, but the moment he touched it, snap! A sharp crack of electricity sparked through the metal. He stumbled back, clutching his hand and cursing loud. Karen screamed, "That's illegal! He assaulted you!" She pulled out her phone, shouting, "I'm calling the police! He's going to jail today!" Grandpa leaned forward just slightly, his voice steady but cold. "You go ahead and call whoever you want, but you better pray the real sheriff shows up." The patrolman froze. For the first time, their tough expressions slipped into doubt. Karen's mouth hung open, her fake authority trembling in the air. Grandpa rocked slowly back and forth on his swing as if he had all the time in the world. "You think you know power," he said softly, "but you don't even know whose gate you just touched." And with that line, the tension snapped tighter, the air thick with a secret none of them had figured out yet. Karen's phone was still pressed to her ear when sirens echoed down the dirt road. She smirked like she'd already won, shouting, "Finally! Now you'll see what happens when you break HOA law." The patrol guys straightened their jackets, trying to look official, like they were backing her up. The cruiser stopped at the gate, dust swirling behind it. The deputy stepped out, but instead of rushing toward Karen, his eyes went straight to Grandpa. He tipped his hat respectfully and said, "Evening, Sheriff. Didn't expect to see you here tonight." Karen's face drained of color. "Sheriff?" she stuttered, pointing at Grandpa. No, he's just some old farmer sitting on a porch swing. He assaulted my patrol officer." The deputy didn't even glance at her. He just looked at Grandpa, waiting. Grandpa slowly set his sweet tea down, stood up from the swing, and adjusted his hat. His calm voice cut through the air like a blade. "These people broke onto my land. They touched my gate without permission. That's trespassing and impersonating officers," he added, eyes narrowing at the fake patrol. The two men started to shuffle nervously, their fake badges catching the evening light. One muttered, This is just a misunderstanding." But Grandpa pulled something from his shirt pocket, an old, worn badge polished just enough to gleam. Karen gasped, No way. You're not—" Grandpa's lips curled into a thin smile. "Retired sheriff of this county, and I still know every law you're breaking." The deputy's stance shifted instantly, serious now, waiting for orders. "What do you want me to do, Sheriff?" Grandpa didn't answer right away. He let the silence hang, watching Karen squirm, her fake power crumbling right there in the dirt. Then he finally spoke, low and steady. "Start by running their IDs. I've got a feeling these aren't the first laws they've broken." The patrolmen froze like trapped animals, and for the first time, Karen's confident smirk was completely gone. Her voice cracked as she tried to spin the moment back in her favor. "This is harassment. You can't let him pull some rusty badge and act like it still means something. He's just an old man trying to scare us." She stomped toward the deputy, shoving her phone in his face. I already called 911. Backup's coming for me. Grandpa didn't flinch. He just leaned against the porch post, quiet, almost amused. The deputy shook his head. Ma'am, that man isn't just an old farmer. Every cop in this county knows who he is. You messed with the wrong gate. But Karen wasn't finished. She yanked a folded paper from her clipboard and slapped it against the fence. This is an official HOA lien notice. His property isn't even his anymore. We can seize it. Her voice was trembling now, desperate, but she tried to make it sound strong. Grandpa's eyes darkened. He walked down from the porch, step by step, boots pressing into the dirt with a weight that made even the fake patrol step back. He took the paper from the fence, glanced at it, and let out a low chuckle. Then, without a word, he held it up to the porch light, and the seal at the top peeled off. Cheap inkjet print, nothing legal at all. You forged this, Grandpa said flatly. That's a felony. Karen froze. The patrolmen exchanged looks, panic rising in their eyes. One muttered, "We shouldn't have gotten involved in this." Grandpa turned, walked back to his swing, and sat down again, as calm as before. He looked at the deputy. "Secure the scene. Don't let them leave." Karen's mouth twisted into a snarl, panic driving her now. She screamed, "You'll regret this. I have friends in high places. You don't know who you're messing with." But Grandpa only rocked slowly in his swing, eyes fixed on her. "Neither do you, ma'am," he said softly. The porch light flickered once, and suddenly Karen wasn't so sure she had the upper hand anymore. Headlights flashed at the end of the road, cutting through the dark. Karen's face lit up with triumph. She pointed toward them, yelling, "There! That's my backup! Now you'll all see!" The fake patrol straightened their shoulders again, trying to act tough as if their reinforcements would save them. A black SUV rolled up fast, gravel spitting under its tires. The doors opened and 3 men stepped out, broad-shouldered, in dark jackets. They moved with the kind of confidence that made Karen beam. "These are real enforcers," she shouted. "Not like your little country deputy." The deputy tensed, hand near his holster, but Grandpa lifted one hand, calm as ever. "Wait." His eyes scanned the newcomers, and for the first time, a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Well, look who finally showed up." The men walked closer, and when they stepped under the porch light, Karen's smug grin shattered. Across their jackets, bold letters glowed. U.S. Marshals. One of them pulled out a folder. "We got your call, Sheriff. Heard there was trouble with impersonators." He looked directly at the fake HOA patrol. "And wouldn't you know it, these 2 have outstanding warrants in 3 states. The patrolmen went pale, stumbling back like trapped animals. Karen spun toward them, her voice screeching, "What? No, you said you were official." But the marshals ignored her, already cuffing the first man while the other tried to bolt, only to be slammed against the SUV. Karen's phone slipped from her hand, falling into the dirt. She stuttered, This isn't how it's supposed to go." Grandpa rocked slowly in his swing, watching it unfold. "Funny thing about power," he said quietly, almost to himself. "The louder you shout about having it, the less of it you really do." Karen whipped around to scream back at him, but the marshal closest to her stopped her cold. "Ma'am, we'll be needing to see your ID next." Her fake empire had just collapsed in one night. Karen's hands trembled as the marshal reached for her ID. She yanked her purse away, screaming, "You can't touch me! I know the HOA president. He's a federal judge. If you arrest me, you'll all be out of jobs tomorrow." The marshals didn't flinch. One of them muttered, We've heard that line 100 times. But Karen wasn't done. She stumbled toward the porch, finger jabbing at Grandpa. And you, old man, your electric fence is illegal. You assaulted my officers. I'll sue you for everything you own. You'll die broke on this rotten porch swing. Grandpa didn't even blink. He reached down beside his chair and lifted a thick binder, the kind covered in tabs and legal seals. He flipped it open and held up the very first page. "This," he said, voice calm but razor sharp, "is the original deed to this land. Signed by the county, notarized, recorded, and renewed every generation. My family has owned this property since 1889, long before you, long before your little HOA ever existed." Karen's mouth fell open, but Grandpa wasn't finished. He tapped the next page, a letter stamped with a gold seal. "And this is a federal exemption. You see, ma'am, this land isn't just private property. It's registered as agricultural reserve, meaning your HOA has zero jurisdiction here." The deputy let out a low whistle. The marshals exchanged quick looks of respect. Karen staggered back, her fake authority collapsing faster than her words could cover. Grandpa leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. "You broke into a sheriff's land. You forged documents. You hired criminals to enforce your fake rules, and now you're screaming about power you don't have." He paused, the swing creaking beneath him as the night went dead quiet. Then he said the line that would haunt Karen forever. "You didn't just trespass on my land tonight. You trespassed on the law itself." Karen's legs gave out, and for the first time, she had no words left. By the time the cuffs clicked around her wrists, porch lights flicked on all across the neighborhood. One by one, curious faces peeked out, neighbors stepping onto lawns, whispering as the scene unfolded. The HOA queen, who strutted through every street with threats and fines, was now being shoved against a marshal's SUV. Phones came out instantly, cameras flashed. Someone whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, "Is that Karen getting arrested?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. Another neighbor muttered, "About time someone stood up to her." Karen thrashed, screaming, "Don't film me! You're all going to regret this! I own this neighborhood!" But her voice cracked, shrill and broken, no longer commanding, just pathetic. Grandpa stayed on his porch swing, rocking steady, eyes calm. He didn't need to gloat. The whole street was doing it for him. The deputy walked up to the swing, tipping his hat. "Sheriff, I'll handle the paperwork. You want to press charges personally?" Grandpa sipped his tea, thinking for a long moment, then shook his head. "No need. The law's already got her where she belongs. Let justice do the rest." The marshals loaded the fake patrol into the SUV, slamming the doors shut. Karen's shrieks grew faint as they drove her off, swallowed by the night. Neighbors clapped, cheered, even called out to Grandpa, "You saved us! Finally, she's gone!" But Grandpa didn't smile. He just rocked in silence, watching the last of the dust settle on the road. His voice came low, almost like he was talking to himself. "I didn't fight half my life to keep this land just to let thieves take it with a clipboard." The porch creaked, the swing swayed, and for the first time in years, the night felt peaceful again. Morning came quiet, the kind of calm that only follows a storm. Sunlight spilled across the fields, dew shining on the grass, and for once, there wasn't a single HOA notice taped to a door. The neighborhood buzzed with relief. Kids riding bikes, families grilling, people waving at Grandpa's porch with smiles instead of fear. Grandpa sat in his swing like always, cowboy hat tilted low, tea in hand. But this time, the deputy parked out front, not to answer trouble, but to shake his hand. "You didn't just protect your land, Sheriff," he said. "You gave this whole neighborhood their freedom back." Grandpa looked out over the fields, his voice steady, deep. "That's all I ever wanted, for folks to live without bullies knocking on their doors." He paused, then added with quiet weight, "This land was paid for with blood, sweat, and service. Nobody, not even a crooked HOA, will take it from me." The words hit harder than any law book ever could. Neighbors clapped, some even saluted, and for a moment, the air felt bigger, like it belonged to everyone again. Grandpa leaned back, rocking slow, eyes on the horizon. The battle was over. Justice had spoken, and the land was still his. The final line echoed like a vow. "I didn't fight for this country to be told I can't sit on my own porch." And with that, the story ended where it began. An old man, his land, and a swing that never stopped moving.